one and all. I, Dr. Deepali Saxena, Assistant Professor, member of ISTD Indore chapter, welcome Dr. Upinder Dhar, former National President ISTD, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Dr. Santosh Dhar, National Council Member, ISTD Indore chapter, Rector and Dean, FDSR, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Mr. Atul Shah, Dr. Ramashyam, Dr. S. Anand Reddy, Dr. Pankaj Chavda, Ms. Hareen Kaur Bhasi, HODs, HOIs of constituent institutes, distinguished faculty members, staff members, and students. In the celebration of 54th Foundation Day, panel discussion on diversity and inclusiveness challenges in way forward is organized by Indian Society of Training and Development Indore chapter in association with Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya Indore. Now, I would like to request Dr. Upinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya Indore, for the virtual floral welcome of all the guests. May I now request to technical team to play video of virtual floral welcome. Thank you, technical team. And thank you so much, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, and courteous welcome of all the guests. Foundation Day, of course, this day is to provide a reoccurring movement of memory and imagination. This is the day about awareness of historical realities, present realities, and imaginative country of our future. So, wishing you all happy 54th ISTD Foundation Day. Now, I would like to request Dr. Santosh Dhar, National Council Member, ISTD, Indore Chapter, Rector and Dean, FDSR, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, to shine some light on Indian Society of Training and Development, Indore. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Deepali. Dr. Upinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya and former National President ISTD, Mr. Atul Shah, Regional Vice President, Western Region ISTD, our esteemed panelists, Dr. D.T. Manwani, former Chairperson Indore Chapter, Chairperson ISTD Chapter Dr. Rishu Roy, Mr. Praman Sharma, Secretary ISTD Indore Chapter, all participants, a warm welcome to the panel discussion on diversity and inclusiveness, challenges and way forward, organized by ISTD Indore Chapter on the occasion of 54th Foundation Day of ISTD. ISTD, let me give you a brief about the chapter. ISTD Indore Chapter was established in 1999 under the leadership of Dr. Upinder Dhar as first chairman and then director of Prestige Institute of Management and Research Indore. Dr. Dhar was later elected as Vice President, Western Region in 2005-2006, National Vice President 2007-2008, and National President 2008-2009. Indore chapter has been one of the most active chapters of the country. It organizes monthly meetings regularly followed by expert lectures. It has been conducting one MDP almost every month and SDPs often. E-newsletter is released quarterly. The chapter celebrates Foundation Day every year on April 10th, besides organizing regional convention every year. The chapter is consistently working on its membership drive. It is also working on associate membership drive, which is the membership for the students. In addition, the chapter is organizing various activities from time to time for underprivileged section of the society, like computer awareness for students of the weaker section, educating drivers and the class 4 employees about importance of saving and financial investment and the various investor plans, and also how they can avail the government subsidies that are available for them. In view of the contribution, the chapter was awarded the Best Small Chapter Award twice, once in 2017-18, and first it was conferred in 2002 and 2003. Besides, the chapter has given a national president in 2008-2009, and the two members from the chapter, Dr. Upinder Dar and Dr. Santosh Dar, received ISTD Fellowship in 2003 and 2006, respectively. Today's event has been jointly organized by ISTD Indore chapter with Sri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya in an attempt to contribute to academic excellence. We are sure that at the end of the session, we are able to think beyond our horizon. With these words, this was brief about the chapter. With these words, thank you, and over to Dipali.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to request Mr. Atul Shah, Regional Vice President, Western Region, Indian Society of Training and Development, to address the gathering. Sir, please.
I feel a sense of deja vu as I speak here on a forum of the Indore ISTD chapter. It was just a few months back. I was there in that hallowed center of learning with the Vaishnav Vidyapith, and there meeting and learning from the stalwarts of ISTD remains etched in memory. Thank you, Sirji. Thank you, Madam, for giving us in ISTD and me in particular a chance to share on this all important day. There are three quotations that come to mind. All of them you would have definitely heard before, but it's time to refresh. Point number one, a journey, like Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. 54 years have slipped by, and we have all walked on this journey of self-improvement and growth thanks to people who dreamt, who had a vision, not only for themselves and the organization, but for all of us. Point number two and quote number two. When we climb up the ladder, let us never forget the people who placed the ladder for us. Again, our stalwarts and icons, like our past national president, Dr. Upinder Dhar, and several like him, have placed the ladder for us, and plethora of us have grown and got better in our life and have been successful in our careers thanks to them placing the ladder for us. On this day, we offer our gratitude to our seniors for making it happen for all of us. And quote number three, that's the main thing about ISTD. And the main thing we have to remember should remain the main thing, and that is training. And a little quote on that is that you never grow old. You never grow old. But once you stop growing, you'll become old. That's why I have noticed in the Indore chapter specifically, everybody looks very young. That's because of their commitment to training, their commitment to growth. I wouldn't like to get into the topic of inclusivity and diversity because we have an eminent panel, some of them I know personally, like Dr. Anand Reddy. But an interesting thing about ISTD, will live that concept to the hilt. In inclusivity, we have reached out to all parts of the country. In diversity, though we are just a very focused training organization, but we have academicians who are into training. We have corporate HR honchos who are in it. So that way we have reached out, we have diversified and have grown from a little organization with a few handful of members to a 10,000 plus organization. Again, a hallmark of inclusivity and diversity is in the Indore chapter. I had the privilege of being there, and members across generations, all bonded together with the urge to grow and get better. Learning binds and knits us all. Whether you have Manwani sir or you have Dr. Rishu, we had a stalwart like Dr. Upendra, Santosh madam, a secretary that was spirited and dynamic. Everybody together in this diverse team was focused on getting everybody to grow and get better. The reaching out to the underprivileged, the management development programs that reach out to the best of the best. Again, a range of programs that are both inclusive and diverse. It's a very apt topic selected by the Indore chapter, and we are extremely delighted that one of our checkered chapters of our country, Indore chapters, is organizing this event on our 54th Foundation Day. May we all grow together, and I bring wishes to Indore chapter from all the chapters of the West region. We have some of our finest ISTD members across the country. We have the chairperson of the Hyderabad chapter, Dr. Ranan Reddy here, and the whole country compliments and wishes everybody here, maybe all together, make our organization stronger, grow, and help people grow. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam, and warm wishes to all our respected panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for throwing light on diversity and inclusiveness. Now, some are famous for their skills and talents, while others are distinguished by their courage or profound impact on society. But one thing many of the world's most successful people have in common is their ability to inspire others. And this is absolutely correct in the context of our Dr. Upinder Dhar, former National President, ISTD, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. So I request Sir to contribute welcome greetings. Sir, please, Honorable Sir.
Good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to wish you happy Foundation Day. I think we should count it as the 55th Foundation Day because ISTD was formally established on 10th of April, 1970. When we say Foundation Day, first year is also counted. So this is 55th Foundation Day and 54th anniversary. So in terms of age, it is 54 years old. But so far as Foundation Day is concerned, it is the 55th Foundation Day. So greetings to all of you, all the ISTDians and other friends who have joined in this webinar today. I must congratulate chairperson of this chapter, Rishu, and her team for choosing the very apt and timely theme for this webinar. As we know, diversity and inclusion is an organization's effort, policies, and practices that ensure different groups or individuals of different backgrounds are culturally and socially accepted and integrated into the workplace. An organization that focuses on diversity and inclusion will employ a diverse team of people that reflects the society in which it operates. Diversity refers to political beliefs, race, culture, sexual orientation, religion, class, and or gender identity differences. In the workplace, diversity means your staff, which is consisted of individuals who bring new perspectives and backgrounds to the table. On the other hand, inclusion means that everyone in the diverse mix feels involved, valued, respected, treated fairly, and embedded in the culture of the organization. Empowering all employees and recognizing their special talent is part of creating an inclusive company. Both aspects of diversity and inclusion are important. Diversity without inclusion can result in a toxic culture, and inclusion without diversity can make a company stagnant and uncreative. Companies are starting to focus more on diversity, but many disregard the inclusion piece of the puzzle. Without a concerted effort towards both inclusion and diversity, or say diversity and inclusion, the workplace will feel out of place and unsupported. Diversity and inclusion stands for bringing people together on one platform, making them feel together. The sense of togetherness emerges. In the workplace, there are organizational values. In fact, these are many authors consider diversity and inclusion as values, organizational values, which are demonstrated through hiring individuals of different backgrounds and perspectives and encouraging their participation and success. Diversity includes equal representations of different ethnicities, ages, genders, etc. We must also highlight the benefits. What are the benefits ultimately? Why to talk about diversity and inclusion, or diversity and inclusiveness? First one is the bigger talent pool. When we have in an organization, when we are stressing on diversity and inclusion, we are aiming at bigger talent pool. This is the first benefit. Second, increased employee engagement and trust. Third, new perspectives and innovation. Further, better decision-making, improved performance, and stronger business results and profits. So these are some of the benefits which we can highlight. Now the question that arises here is how ISTD is related to whether there is diversity and inclusion or not, how ISTD is concerned, or why ISTD should be concerned. ISTD should be concerned because here there is a great need for training. Since training is very much required for ensuring right diversity and inclusiveness, that's where the role of ISTD comes. Recently, there has been an increase in companies gravitating towards diversity training in an effort to make their organizations more inclusive. But is this really the way forward? Just simply having tendencies, simply having orientation, gravitating towards diversity training, is that enough? On the surface, it may seem like a good use of an organization's time and resources, particularly in recent times, when there has been a huge increase in the discourse around diversity and inclusion, particularly around race in Western countries, around race. Whereas in our case, diversity in terms of many other factors like say gender, the number of women workers, women employees has significantly increased in every organization. Training is necessary and useful, but hold on. Is training what you need and do it right now? How will training benefit organizational systems and functions? And has that deep work been started? People may attend training programs, go back, forget about what has been discussed. Does that serve any purpose? Perhaps not. The answer can be instructive in terms of leadership knowledge around diversity and inclusion and how to develop it. Companies or organizations are seeking to do the right thing by accessing diversity training, which they believe will support employees to become anti-racist and comply with their newly constructed or reviewed diversity and inclusion policies and initiatives. But at the same time, I urge organizations and companies to be cautious. The fact is that training has little benefit for organizations if operational functions allow for the systemic reinforcement of racism or say diversity in any case that applies to us are not uprooted and changed. That means the old practices, if they are not changed, if we do not renew ourselves, if we do not reform, then it has no meaning. Training will never be the elixir for systemic racism or any other type of discrimination. It only adds value once strategic change to systems and organizational values have been made. So if training results into the change, then only purpose is served. If it is simply listening to the resource persons, going back and forgetting, then it doesn't serve any purpose. So people should be receptive and then they should be able to weave it into the system. Leadership has been forced to confront the gaps and practice around diversity and inclusion. For decades, organizations have been taken to delivering training to tick a box diversity, but little has been done to implement actionable elements of systemic nature that would serve to remove discriminatory practice. Training in the absence of real efforts to support a holistic agenda for demonstrable systems change will not bring about efficacy within the diversity and inclusion agenda. It will remain a tick box exercise that does not have the ability to advance practice and embed real equity and inclusion. ISTD, as we know, has been playing a very significant role in training in India. And not, but since 1970, in fact, efforts were made to set up this kind of a professional body in 1969 itself. But the formally, it became a registered body on 10th of April, 1970. I had the great opportunity to become part of ISTD in 1978 when ISTD was growing, only 8 years old. So I have seen all the ups and downs and also seen the great contribution that ISTD has been making over these last 54 years. The stalwarts of training in India who were known as institutions in themselves were associated with ISTD. So I was very fortunate to get an opportunity to work with most of them. Those who were, even today, though they are known for their, them are no more in this physical world today, in this material world today, but they are even today known for their contribution and the work that they did. So we should set the examples like that and contribute. ISTD is a great platform on which we can design great programs and see to it that change in a positive direction takes place in the organizations. And it can be done, ISTD has been doing it. So once again, I wish you all the best and happy ISTD Foundation Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts. Thanks
Can
once
I
again, sir.
And I add that it's an absolute privilege and joy to hear, sir, again. I had the privilege of having a little interview, and it reached out across ISTD and inspired many. Thank you, sir, for being a light that we can all follow.
Thank you very much for interviewing me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, without taking any pause, I would like to request Dr. Rishu Roy, Chairperson ISTD Indore Chapter and Professor Shri Vaishnav School of Management, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya Indore, for the brief introduction of our guest of panel discussion on diversity and inclusiveness, challenges and way forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dipali. I would like to introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. Rama Shah. She is currently working as Program Director and NGO in NGO called Sneha in the sector Ehsas, that is Empowerment, Health and Sexuality of Adolescents and Collaboration and Partnership domain. Currently, she is leading 3 large interventions with young people from urban informal settlements in Mumbai on improving their nutritional health, building a stepped care model to address mental health concerns, and facilitating people to access to their social protection scheme. She is an ethnographer by training and has over 20 years of experience in both grassroots and international organizations working on the issues of peace building, interfaith dialogue, and community development. She has played a crucial role in consolidating both qualitative and quantitative evidence-based learning on youth programs. She has contributed to and advocated program-based learning, a gender transformative approach across national and global firms. Dr. Rama also invests in building capacities of urban community volunteers on the issues of citizenship, demography, and governance, to name a few. Our next guest, Dr. S. Anand Reddy, is currently working as head LNOD in Heathrow, a pharmaceutical company. Dr. Anand Reddy, Singha Reddy, is a certified executive and leadership coach from world's prestigious coaching organization, Marshall Goldsmith Coaching Center, and India's leading coaching organization, Growmo. He's a motivational speaker, corporate trainer, counselor, and psychotherapist. Academically, very strongly rooted, he is a PhD guide, and his doctorate degree is in management with his 2 masters in MBA and counseling and psychotherapy. He holds many certifications from prominent international bodies like Stanford University, Dale Carnegie, Oscar Murphy, and also Accelerate. He also worked with various organizations, and that was really instrumental in bringing in various developmental interventions. As a researcher, he has published 30 papers and research articles, and has also given presentations in many nationals and internationals conferences. Besides that, he has also published 3 books and received Best Paper Award in one of the international conferences. He visits reputed colleges and universities and appears in TV shows to share his knowledge. He is being invited as keynote speaker in many national and international platforms. Commending his works, various bodies have acknowledged his service and awarded him. He has received awards at HR Tech Summit for Employee Empowerment, World HRD Congress as top HR leaders in Telangana in 2022, 101 most iconic learning and development leaders in 2023, most influential person in training by ICON and HR Championship Award in 2022 by ICON. Our next guest is Dr. Pankaj Chavra. He is head HR L&T MHI Motor Power Boilers Private Limited, Gujarat. He is also certified as CII HR Excellence Assessor. He is PhD and has done LLB from Gujarat University. In his previous companies, he has played crucial role in setting up systems and brought digital transformation. Having more than 2 decades of experience, he is young, dynamic HR who has expertise in managing HR functions to drive organizational performance. He is certified in Lean Six Sigma Green Belt from Brigham University in 2022. He is also certified from Davis University of California in critical thinking skills. He has also chaired and presented various papers in national and international conferences and is also invited as guest speaker in various platforms. Our next speaker, Ms. Harleen Kaur, is currently working as head HR in Envy Technologies, an IT company at Indore. She is young and versatile, and she believes in the philosophy that problems are actually the opportunity to grow. She has brought in various interventions in the company and closely dealt with employee engagement, grievance management, performance management, change management, mentorship and guidance, and recruitment. She has delivered talks in various universities and colleges and has been recognized from various bodies. Thank you. Over to Dipali ma'am.
Now I handle the panel discussion to Dr. T.K. Manu, sir.
Thanks a lot, Dipali and Dr. Ishu Roy, for interesting the moderatorship of this esteemed panel.
Sir, sir, mute. Sir, your mic is on mute mode.
No,
Hello, sir.
yeah, am I audible?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you, Professor Mundu.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I consider honestly a privilege to be among these eminent panelists in this panel discussion. I must thank the chairperson of Indo chapter of ISTD and others for interesting this excellent opportunity to me for learning. As Dr. Ishura has already introduced the 4 panelists, we have from 4 different fields on this very important topic, which our Honorable Vice Chancellor has emphasized upon. And the panelists are from different backgrounds, one from NGO, one from IT, one from engineering, manufacturing, another from pharmaceutical. I'm sure we're going to have an excellent panel discussion in next 1 odd hour or so. Since I'm supposed to moderate this particular session, I propose for all the panelists, we have about just about an hour time with us, and we would, in fact, I would have personally preferred it to be as much interactive as possible. But to begin with, I propose that each of the panelists speaks for about 10-12 minutes, and we devote the remaining time on question answers, including some of the questions which I have worked out myself to be addressed by the panelists at the end of the 4 after all the 4 speakers have delivered their thoughts on the topic. I would also encourage the panelists on Zoom as well as the attendees to raise their questions while the speakers are going on, and when other persons are asking questions, if you have an access, the panelists can ask questions directly at the end of the talks, and those who are attendees can raise these questions in the chat box. So we'll take them up as much as possible, subject to time permitting. So if that is okay with you, can we proceed with each of the panelists deliberating on the topic, this extremely important topic, in the order that they have been mentioned in the schedule? So I'll request Dr. Ramasam to please take it up, followed by Dr. Anand Reddy, and then Dr. Pankaj Chawda, and then Harleen Kaur.
Thank you, Professor Mandol. I hope I hope all of you can hear me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once again, congratulations and on your Foundation Day. I would begin with an allusion to what Dr. Dhar was talking about. Dr. Dhar has actually set the context rightly by, in fact, defining the concepts of diversity and inclusiveness. And he also did give us great examples as to how ISTD has ensured the values of representation and inclusiveness over the years. And another significant aspect that Dr. Dhar um, has mentioned in his speech today um, is the implication of not just training, but imbibing what we are trained on and then applying it as practice in our lives. So I would like to begin with that. And given the time constraints, I'll keep it very brief so that we have more space for interaction here, because this topic actually warrants interaction. Diversity and inclusion, I think, is all about people coming together, not shying away from arguing, agreeing to disagree, and taking it ahead from there. So, in that spirit, I think also, as Dr. Roy mentioned, that I am an ethnographer by training. So, for me, nothing holds good till I really go back into history and the past and see how our lives have been shaped. Just to bring in Professor Amartya Sen always takes us back to the relevance of the past and the history and what we learn from history, because ultimately that is what shapes our present and launches us into the future. Uh, I will talk very briefly about my personal experiences of experiencing diversity and inclusion right from when I was a child at home. I grew up in West Bengal with a set of parents who were extremely committed to exposing me to the values of diversity and inclusiveness right since we were toddlers. In fact, when I go back to my childhood, I very fondly remember that I belonged to a Bengali Hindu family where my father got the local Maulana Saab to come home and teach me Urdu since I was 5 years old. That is something that has remained with me as an ethos that I was brought up with. I was fed copiously on the philosophies of Rabindranath Tagore and with the philosophies of Saratchandra Chattopadhyay. And I think they have created an indelible mark, as well as Mahashweta Devi. I had the privilege of reading all of them in my native language. And I make this allusion today because I think over and above what these philosophers and authors taught me was to rise above narrow structures of nationalism, of narrow structures, of structured religion, and look at humanity as something that is open, that is inclusive, and the idea of humanism. I think going by the theme today, what is most important to this country is to be able to celebrate the diversity that all of us have lived with throughout our lives so far. Unfortunately, in today's times, uh, the narrative has been veering towards a narrow sense of identity. I think for us, and especially for me as an ethnographer, as I have spent most of my life and time, and I have spent most of my life with people in both rural and urban sectors of India, what has really helped me in understanding inclusion and diversity is to be able to rise above discrimination and look at people's capabilities. I think where we come from socially is purely an accident by birth. But what makes us, what can shape us, is the capabilities and the freedom to choose who we can become. And that's where the narrative of development should lead us into. And we have a robust constitutional framework in this country, which on the day of our independence was very fortuitously given to us. And to me, what I hold dearly is an understanding of our constitutional values and frameworks. So, while on the one hand we have society which is trying to reach somewhere, the constitutional framework is a vision in our making for ourselves. So while we have narrow identities, we have legal frameworks that are rooted in moral ideas of diversity and inclusion. I think it is for us to make that choice. What is the kind of choice that we make in our lives, in our workplaces, and what do we transfer to our children? Because I think institutions will continue to do their jobs, but I think we as parents in this country will also have to take up the responsibility of transferring our understanding of diversity and inclusion to our children. I would like to rest with that and just bring in Robert Frost, who had said at the end of his poem, The Road Not Taken, that two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you very much, Professor Mondal, all the esteemed panelists, and the organizers here.
Fantastic words, madam. We'll come back to the question answers, and I'm sure I, and apart from the panelists and the attendees, would have a lot of inclusivity in them to take things forward with you. So kindly stay tuned, and we wait for the other speakers to complete. Yeah, we have next Dr. Anand Reddy, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to wish everybody happy Foundation Day of ISTD. And because, ISTD, we celebrate every success because we are united. That's what we call it. And thanks to Atul and Rishu, who have invited me to this particular program. I know we are supposed to do in Hyderabad, as the chairman of Hyderabad chapter, we are supposed to do a program. But I said, let me give a priority to these people because they are doing it in diversity. So maybe that could be the reason that they have invited. So that's where I am here. And thank you very much. And also, I would like to acknowledge the beautiful opening remarks made by Dr. Upinder, who made very clearly, listening to various speakers is very easy because speakers collect data and experiences and they share. But what is most important is that how applicable are they becoming in our daily life? That's the most important because, we say training, we train and we come out. And, being in the organization heading L&D, one challenge that we face is that, can you measure the output of your training? And even till today, we are searching that output. How do we measure? Because once we show that output stating that this is the outcome of our training, somebody else comes and says, no, it's not just because of training, various parameters have included. But anyway, that's always a challenge. That's always a fight for taking a success. Thanks, Dr. Upinder, for setting a beautiful context. So let me take my take on what is DEI, what we speak about, and let me start with a small story. There was a young boy who went to a mela, that's jatra, what we call it as. He went there, and then he was going with a mom and looking at every kind of activity and the kind of shops that they have established and everything that he was seeing and enjoying. And then as he was enjoying every moment of his presence there, he saw one balloon seller. He was just selling his balloons and marketing it by, just floating every balloon in the air. And this guy, he was closely observing every person. Closely observing this balloon seller, just flying every balloon with a different color except the black one. Then he went to the balloon seller and he said, Uncle, you have been showing as a demonstration by flying every balloon. I'm curious to know, even if this black balloon also flies same as the other balloons. And he said very clearly, my dear son, it is not about the color of the balloon which makes the balloon to fly, but what is inside the balloon that makes the balloon to fly. Now, this is what exactly DI, what I would call it as. It's not about the appearance of the person, what makes the person to perform, but rather what is inside the person that makes the person to perform. And that's a beauty of DI. But unfortunately, we are all taken by the perceptions and assumptions regarding this diversity. And because there are a lot of students attending this, let me also clarify what is DEI usually means. Now, when we say diversity, D stands for diversity. When we say diversity, most of us believe diversity is nothing but it's the differences in demographic variables. Maybe it is a gender, maybe it is a race, maybe it is a color, maybe it is a height, weight, whatever it is. It's all demographic variables. This is only one part. And today, I would like to say there is also another part when I say DEI. It's also cognitive element which also including into this diversity. If you think in your mind that this person cannot do it, then there's a diversity. If you even the thought of differentiation itself is a diversity that you are making, that's a diversity. I'll also speak about that little later. And second is equity. Now, when I speak about equity, there's a difference between what is equality and what is equity. Now, when I say equality, it's like I have three people working in my department. One is tall, one is average, one is short. Now, suppose as a head of the department, if I give for 3 people same height of the stool to look over the wall, it's known as equality. Because I'm trying to give them the equal. I'm treating all 3 people in the same without any difference. But do you know, I'm still making a difference because I'm not giving equity. It's an equality that I'm doing it. Equity is that it's not about the stool. Can you make all 3 people on the same to look over the wall? Now, the third element is that it's an inclusion. Now, I know I'm also from a village background. And if you look back to the villages, if you see, there is always a differences that cause this creed, this whatever it is. But when you come into the city, you don't make that difference. Because people don't think about that, but they just embrace whatever is available. It's not intentionally, but unintentionally, they make it. But when they dig in, and if they find out there is some, again, elements of this diversity, people back out. Now, this is why is that, as Dr. Upinder rightly mentioned, today it has become a hot topic across the organizations. Why is that people are giving more focus towards this particular thing? There was a research which was conducted. I was just going through that research while preparing for this seminar. Now, which shows, don't take me for wrong, it's a research report which says, aged above 56, people said, only 27% of the people said diversity is important. Aged between 40 to 55, they said 52% of people said diversity is important. Aged between 18 to 39, they said almost 60% of the people said diversity is important. And I was trying to reflect based upon this age differentiation, what this research made. I would say, if you go back to the olden days, when our childhood days in the school, we were made to sit boys and girls separately. But today, this is not the same. Now, maybe probably the reason could be, the root cause is somewhere in the childhood, the way we have been brought up. But today, people, they want to work together. There is no difference that they want to see. That's one thing that I have seen. Because, the kind of latest generation which is coming into a workforce, they want this diversity and inclusion to be more and more in the organizations. And the second reason why this has become prominent could be today, on 8 out of 10 people in this report, they say DEI is giving very positive results. The managers are saying DEI is giving very positive results, 8 on 10. That could be another element. And the third one, the HRs who are there and the L&D professionals who are there with me would agree. Because of this DEI initiatives, there is a 10% growth rate which is happening in terms of various aspects, starting from recruitment to return on investment in the organizations or the profits of the organizations. Now, how it is impacting? Maybe in various ways. Maybe in recruitment it is impacting, or the retention of the people it is impacting on various aspects. Now, but again, are we prepared to have this diversity inclusion in the organizations? Now, how do we say it's a prepared? As you rightly mentioned in the training, we always keep saying, remove your unconscious bias in terms of diversity. But how are we removing this unconscious biasness? As soon as the person, we still believe in the first look itself, we judge people. That itself is a bias. By looking at somebody, where is the transparency in our assumptions and at the same time in our perceptions? Now, the second challenge, how many of our organizations in terms of our infrastructure are compatible for including all these kind of people? You have somebody coming in a wheelchair. Is your organization has a ramp for these persons to move? Are our organizations are reworking on an infrastructure basis? I'm sure very less. I have one case study and a live case study whom I brought to my organization to show as a live case study. Maybe you could also find, her name is Tania, who is an engineer by profession. She lost her both the legs. But, unfortunately, maybe I'm sure she was being discriminated for something. But, she said, I will cycle, and she's a cyclist. She's traveled from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, I believe, with those 2 damaged legs. And today she's an employee working in a company and she's performing very well. In fact, I had to make this as a story and publish to all our employees. There's no discrimination. It's not that whether you have 1 finger or no finger. I always tell them, look at these 5 fingers in your hand. Each is a different. Because they are different, you are able to hold any bottle very tightly, which you cannot pull it out. Imagine if 5 fingers are the same size and shape. You will not even eat properly with the full hand. Because they are different, the synergy of the palm is coming in. That's a beauty of DEI initiatives. And let me it gives you a lot of other benefits we will discuss in the later, because I'm sure the time that is allotted to me is over. So let me conclude my talk with a single statement. Diversity is a fact. Diversity is a fact. Equity is a choice. Equity is a choice. Inclusion is a decision. Diversity is a fact. Equity is a choice. And then inclusion is a decision. And it's up to each one of us. What do we do with this? Thank you very much.
Great, Dr. Reddy. I think I wished you went on and you could have heard more about it, but then we'll definitely have some other opportunity, and maybe towards the end we'll have views on some of the issues related to these. Nicely put: fact, choice, and decision with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Quickly going to the next speaker, I'll invite Dr. Pankaj Chawda from L&T MHI Power to please enlighten us.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Rishu, for inviting me into this forum of discussion on diversity and inclusion. I'm sure that I'm audible. Yeah, okay. So,
Yes.
Dr. Dhar has set a beautiful context of the forum of discussion regarding diversity and inclusion. And it's a hot topic in the present day. All corporates, irrespective of whether small, big, everybody is talking about diversity, inclusion, DEI. It's a buzzword. And everybody would like to say be in front seat that we have done so many things regarding diversity, and our organization is gender neutral, or we are increasing our gender ratio and transgender, and we are having lot of diversity in our organization. So now I just have a small PPT. I've just share. It will take 5-10 minutes. Yeah. Is it visible, no?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Chawda, can you make
Yes,
it full
it's visible.
screen, please?
Sorry?
Can you make it full screen, please, Dr. Chawda?
Yeah, I'm just doing. Okay. So the concepts are very well explained by Rama and Anandji, and in the opening remarks by Dr. Dhar. So I will not spend much time on with respect to concepts. I will show you what, as an L&T, as a big conglomerate, what we are doing as a part of diversity and inclusiveness. Slide is not moving. I think slide, there is some problem with slide. Slide is not moving.
Share it as entire screen. It will.
Slide is not moving yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a minute. Is it control with me or no? I don't know.
You can exit the presentation and again.
Yeah, again I'm doing.
Yeah.
We'll share the screen. Okay.
No.
Not yet moving. No? Okay. Let it be. We'll just share my thoughts. I will go through the PPT and just explain. So, as explained by earlier speaker, diversity means any kind of difference, whether the differences are with respect to individual aspects, can be gender, can be disability, can be thought process, cognitive difference, can be say different demographics, different state, different city, different kind of education. These all comes under diversity. And there are some organization specific dimensions as well, maybe of a different functional level. Somebody is in production, quality, service, maintenance, HR, F&A, right? So they are based on function as well as at work content level also, there are so much of diversity. So diversity means any kind of differences. And if you go through different kinds of club it in a different category, then it could be a cultural diversity, racial diversity, religious diversity, age specific, gender, disability. And when we talk about inclusion, while having an organization have various kind of diverse people or diverse cultural background people are available, how those people, the thinking and their say expertise are being used for organization decision making. So an inclusive environment, as Anandji very rightly said, inclusion is a decision, right? Inclusivity means decision. Organization has to take a decision whether there is an inclusive environment, and whether the kind of a culture, whether it's autocratic or democratic decision making prevail. It depends on the philosophy of the owner or philosophy of the board. when we talk about diversity, we use various terminology, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness, and very well explained with the analogy by Anandji with respect to balloon, different color balloon, and how say people are not taking a particular color balloon. Inside everything is same, but say understanding and valuing those differences because you're ultimately looking at what is inside, and the organization which are having those philosophy of bringing out best from people, whether irrespective of their differences, will flourish. There are a lot of surveys and other things done. I will just share in little part. So diversity will bring in a lot of benefits to the organization in terms of you will enhance your the talent pool, the level of employee engagement and trust will increase because different people will have different thoughts, different approaches, and different kind of expertise that will come together. So it will ultimately enhance the level of engagement and trust. New perspective and innovation is an added advantage, and the decision making, of course, will become better if we utilize those differences and channelize their expertise for making a decision, a right decision, and it will improve the performance, and stronger business results and profits will be observed. So there was a a survey, there was a say research done by McKinsey in 2020, and the business case diversity in workplace by World Economic Forum in 2019. So in that both the research, what has come out is businesses with more women, particularly when it is glaring differences having gender diversity, is a business with businesses with are having more females or women in their executive team is likely to have a financially outperform compared to the industry median. So if you go through this report by McKinsey and World Economic Forum, they have given data, that statistical data. The another finding of the research is corporations that embrace gender diversity on their executive teams were more competitive and 21% more likely to experience above average the profitability. So they have compared few organizations having say various levels of gender ratio, and they have seen it is very clearly glaring difference of the above average profitability in those organizations which are having say which embrace the gender diversity. The third important finding of the research was corporations that embrace gender diversity also had a 27% likelihood of outperforming their peers on longer term value creation. And the fourth important research outcome was innovation in organization jumped once the gender diversity exceeds 20%. So this is a finding, and its a report is available in the net. If you will easily find it out and just see the research done by this important forums. Now, when I talk about L&T, L&T is a very big organization having its own legacy and very traditional organization. It used to be in last, if I talk about 10 years back, but L&T has also say having different kind of diversity. Once we have made an analysis of how many, how diverse our organization is, then we have come to know that from our SAP data that we are having all kind of diversity, being people with different states, with people with having different speaking languages as a mother tongue, then people at different levels of age. So and if we have seen the data, there was totally diverse organization. Only one factor was not in say tandem, was the gender diversity. And being an engineering organization, our gender diversity was very, very less. Earlier, it was very in a single digit. And now we are consciously moving to year on year with the better, say, inclusion of female or women employees into our workforce. And we have initiated various initiatives. We call it Winspire. Winspire is an initiative we have initiated since last 5 years, and the women employees and female employees are part of this program, and they are being sensitized through various experience-based learning, awareness and training for employees, because while we are bringing awareness about diversity and in particular gender diversity, the employees should be aware about various bias and what kind of barriers to the improving the gender diversity. Women lead task forces were made, surveys and identification of DEI champions across various business, because L&T is a larger unit, so each unit has one or two DEI champions. We will lead those initiatives in those units, and we at the same time there are various some policy related matters, policy related issues, and those policy level decisions were taken by our senior management, and wherever required necessary policy changes for the suiting to the needs of the females and women employees and the PWDs, people with disabilities, those changes are made, and over a period of time our the ratio or gender diversity ratio has improved significantly, and the company has made proper infrastructure also, because once increasing the ratio, increasing the numbers is easy, but maintaining those numbers is difficult. So while the numbers are increased, how to engage, how to develop, and how to motivate them and keep them remain with the organization with the required infrastructure and facilities, and the policy related support and framework was made and implemented. So at L&T, we treat everyone with respect and dignity, and we do not have even zero tolerance towards any kind of harassment, and we do not discriminate during recruitment, development, promotion, while giving any kind of benefits and perks. And we provide equal growth opportunities based on merit and job specific qualifications to all, including those with the disabilities. And we encourage our partners to embrace. Partners means our vendors and our subcontractors and all. Also, we encourage them to embrace the inclusiveness and diversity into their respective areas and create conducive environment for all kinds of people in the organization. So we have done a lot and a lot more needs to be done in the coming days. There are many initiatives are lined up, and L&T is a very huge organization, and any initiative requires a lot of support, teamwork, and any backup from the management. And over a period of time, and since if I will not say exact what would be the percentage of we have improved, but we have made around 70 to 80% improvement in the ratio of gender, as well as we enhance the PWDs and other kind of diversity in the organization. So thank you, and we'll be happy to answer the questions in the last part of this forum.
Yeah, that was also important. I don't see any questions so far posed in chat box. I once again request all the attendees to please raise your questions in the chat box, and we'll take them up one by one. Thanks for that delivery, Dr. Chawda. We now move over to Harin Kaur to hear her version of DEI.
Hello everyone, Sat Shri Akal. Here, first of all, I would like to express how immensely I'm grateful to be a part of this wonderful session. Thank you so much, Dr. Rishu, and all my senior panelists. I am really feeling so privileged and honored to be a part of this wonderful session. I have always believed that a motivated manpower is the biggest asset for a company. And sticking by this quote, today I stand as a HR head of NB Technologies Private Limited Indore, which is an IT company. Basically, it's a ERP product-based company dealing with the construction ERP solutions. I've been associated with this company since last 14 years, and I believe that I faced uncountable challenges. I faced a lot of issues, and I tried to resolve in a very better way and tried to overcome from that situation where I did the hard work and I got a very great reward for this conservative regular task. I believe in learning and growing every single day. So here I am, an ethically strong head who can make everything possible by my hard work, consistency, and dedication towards my organization and my work. So now, right now, I'm just sharing my screen. I have a short PPT I would like to show you all. Thank you so much. Is it visible to all? Could you please confirm?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
It's not moving. Just a second.
It's scrolling, you can go ahead.
All right. So I think there's a time constraint. So let me go through with the first topic. I mean, there is a very wonderful topic, very trendy topic right now in the market: diversity and inclusiveness in the workplace. So here my agenda is what I'm going to cover up the points. Like, first of all, what is diversity and inclusion management? Then types of diversity in the workplace, importance of diversity management in the workplace, challenges in managing diversity at work, and how to overcome of the diversity at workplace. First of all, here I would like to let you know all like what is diversity. Everybody must be knowing about diversity and inclusion management. So diversity is the presence of differences within a given setting is referred to as diversity, such as race, gender, nationality, sexual orientation, minority communities, majority communities, and other significant factors. The practice of ensuring that people feel a sense of belonging and support from the organization is referred to as an inclusion. Here I would like to communicate about the diversity. So diversity in the workplace refer to an organization that hires people with a variety of character traits such as gender, religion, nationality, race, age, and other forces. While managing workforce, diversity can be complex, but by supporting and fostering it is the way forward in this competitive world at the workplace. There are people who are from different communities, like as I told, minority communities, majority communities, depends upon the country. When we talk about diversity, it is nothing but it's a variety of people from different religion, different age group, different generation gap. There are people 20 to 25 age, there are people 40 to 45 age, males and females. Diversity is nothing, but having a diverse crowd in the workplace is diversity. Diversity is a fact and inclusion is a choice. Let's talk about inclusion. An inclusive workplace has a diverse workforce that is engaged, developed, empowered, and trusted by the company. When we are talking about diversity, that means having a difference. And when we're talking about the inclusion, that means we are supporting that differences. So diversity is nothing but it's an example of diversified people. If we have people with different age groups and religions, that is diversity, but providing all of them equal opportunity when they all come to the creative table, that is inclusion. So diversity is a fact, no doubt, diversity is a fact, but inclusion is a choice. So diversity is a fact which nobody can change, but inclusion is a choice. I think everybody should promote inclusion at the workplace, at the organization. So if I talk about the organizational level, so there are 4 types of diversity: internal diversity, external diversity, organizational diversity, and worldviews. So if I talk about the internal diversity, is a term that is born with gender, that is born with the age, which cannot be changed at the real time. If I talk about the external diversity, so this is a terms of like if you have a basic skills, you have a background, you have a educational skills, like the knowledge-based skills in which you are better or worse at. Organizational diversity are the different, like we can take an example of different departments based upon that factors called organizational diversity. Worldviews are like political beliefs and cultural events. They all are the factors of the types of diversity. Importance of diversity. Yes, definitely there are benefits of diversity, of course, in the organization. If we discuss this important topic, so we should discuss about the importance and benefits of diversity at the organization. So if we'll having a great planning for making a diversity and inclusion at the organization, so based on that, we can increase our creativity, we can increase the company productivity, we can generate the company profit, we can take the effective decision at the same time, because we are having a different kind of people who are coming from different backgrounds, who are coming from different religion, who is having a different perceptions, who are having a different views, opinions. So we can take a very relevant and effective decision at the same time. Improve employees retention. Of course, if we are having a great planning, if we are having a great training session, counseling session for all the employees, so definitely we can retain our employees very quickly and very appropriately. So let's talk about the challenges, which is a very important part of this diversity topic. So definitely if there are some benefits, so there must be some challenges. Language, first of all, language and communication barrier. When we have a diverse team, there are so many benefits that we have already seen. Both are extremely important in a competitive world. Whenever we have so many people from so many different backgrounds, there will be certain challenges that we'll have to overcome. Challenges are like communication barrier, because somebody is having prior communication is English, somebody is having secondary communication is English. So chances of discrimination also increased based on that. Slower decision making, increased conflicts. Absolutely, there would be slower decision. The reason behind, because in the creative table, we are having a lot of opinion with the different personalities, different character traits. So we are going to take a decision in a slow manner. Now, way forward, diversity at the workplace. So this is very important, like how we can overcome for the diversity in the workplace. So first of all, assess, plan, implement, execute, and evaluate. First of all, if we are a recruiter, we are a HR manager, so we need to plan, we need to make a hiring system, like what we are looking for, what kind of profiles we are looking for right now, and then make the policies properly, make the systematic procedure for that. Your planning should be very great. And after that, you should implement. It means like you should communicate to all the people, you should communicate all the diversified peoples very properly, that there are no any kind of constraints on diversity part. There is no any bias system. Everything is completely indulged into the diversity part. We are not going to against on that topic. Then after implementation, it should be executed in a good way. You need to, once you will execute, then you need to evaluate, you need to take the feedbacks by all the people, by all the diversified crowd, that whether they are going in a good way, they are going in an appropriate way or not. If they are getting any kind of challenges, so we can discuss and we can amend and incorporate accordingly. So thank you so much. That was a very short discussion for diversity and inclusion. So last but not least, I would say everybody should promote the diversity at the workplace. Due to diversified peoples, we can increase our productivity. We can think about the company can grow accordingly, company can move fastly, company can get the turnover, it can be increased in the turnover ratio, everything. So I think we should always promote diversity in the workplace. Thank you so much.
Great. I think all the four speakers spoke very eloquently, and then I think touched upon very important points on the topic today. Good old days. I remember sometime in 2008-9 or so, before 2010, we used to have letters from the government of India on something called affirmative action. And we had to comply with certain reports related to affirmative action taken in the company and its units, all different business units, and what's happening. And that was essentially related to creating or in a way including people from the areas or vicinity where we were used to operate. Something akin to what we today call as inclusivity. Now, we came across several examples. I think extraordinary examples of adopting diversity and inclusivity. There are quite a few stories which one can easily found, and one of them we heard from Dr. Anand Reddy when he spoke about this girl with kind of disability and how they promoted her, and she's doing so well now. So, in a way, the question that comes to my mind, questions rather. Number one, are these things or are these examples of superlative diversity or inclusiveness or equity by design or there by chance? Number one, it happened or somebody had thought over it and really brought it up. Number one, I mean, don't take this as a personal question. In general, try to address it, and I put it up to all the four panelists in their own ways. Dr. Rama, from her point of view, from her background, Dr. Anand Reddy, he has had hands-on experience, and from his perspective, Dr. Chawda, and then Harin also from IT perspective. Number one. Number two, there are, okay, I'll come to the next question later on. Let's first address this one. Okay, let's not get into too many questions at a time.
Professor Mondal, just the first part of your question, sir.
I said such examples of extremely good, inclusivity, setting up examples of inclusivity in organizations or in society, are they sporadic or they are by design? All that I'm trying to say, because I have a feeling, I carry a feeling that they happen by chance, and maybe some cases there are exceptions always. The larger question is, can we make such examples on a more sustainable basis? Can we really keep them up for a long period of time, and we make it a routine, we make it a part of our DNA and practice it?
Yeah, I'll just take it quickly with due permission from my co-panelists, because I have to leave. I have recruitment interviews lined up. So, sir, to respond to this very briefly, I must say that civilizationally, it is by chance. In terms of evolutionary theory, if you look at it, I will go back to the African concept of Ubuntu, which talks about you are or I am because you are. We need each other. And as Dr. Reddy said, diversity is a fact. It is not going anywhere. Yeah. Now, to come to the second part of it, it is a chance, but the chance may not remain if we do not make it a design. Because design will imbue sustainability into something that we might have just chanced upon. We cannot just rely on chance and coincidences to happen all the time. So that is my very simple take on it. From my personal life, diversity as I grew up with made me make a choice. I made a choice of choosing a Muslim life partner. And our parents have been very happy. They look upon us beyond our social identities, and so do our friends. So what might have happened is, chance is my childhood. I could make a choice out of that and make it into a design.
Good. And Dr. Reddy, what's your take?
Yeah. So I think it's a rightly said, entire diversity, which is, it's nothing but a fact, has roots from the evolution. Countries started fighting for accumulation of a more place. And then in the Indian history, you would have seen the kind of, the segments that we have. This kind of people should do only this work and that segmentation. And that has brought into this. And today, it's by no way, it's a choice. what organizations are doing is it's by design that they want to make it. Because as I said, cognitive biases not easy to be eliminated from the brains. It's in a DNA of every person who has experienced, and it's transferring. That's what, in the research which says the aged above 56, they have a less acceptance. The present age has more acceptance of DEI. Because if you make it a design, maybe over a period of time, it will become a neutral. So I would say it's by design that has to happen, and that's happening today.
Okay, so you in a way echo what Dr. Rama said.
Yes.
It used to happen by chance, but now it's happening more and more by design.
Correct.
Okay, over to Dr. Chawda.
Yeah, I also echo with Dr. Rama and Dr. Anand, because nature itself is diverse, and nature itself teaches about how inclusive it is. So till last few years, it's okay that it is happening by chance. But if any organization has to sustain in the longer run, and working with Gen Z and the new generations are coming to the workforce, it has to be designed, it has to have a policy and strategic backup. Otherwise, such organization will not be there in the market. So it is not now a choice, it has to be by design.
Okay, Dr. Rama wants to take leave, so let's all say thank you to her, and then for her excellent contribution.
Thank you very much. Please
Thank you,
continue.
Dr.
My
Rama.
sincere apologies. Bye-bye.
Absolutely, no problems.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we continue. Dr. Chawda, I think you completed.
Yeah, I completed.
Okay, great. Harin, you have anything to say on this?
Sir, I feel like I believe being an IT person, it should not be a choice. It should be designed, it should be planned, it should be executed in a very appropriate way. Because being a HR manager, I'm feeling like here in the organization, we are also looking for a diversified people. Some interns are coming nowadays, some, if I talk about whenever I look into the CV, that's a candidate is having age around 50 to 55 years. So we preferably see the skill sets. Basically, we usually check the knowledge level, we usually check the exposure they have basically done in the previous experience. So I think we believe that we should go for the design part, and I'm going to agree with you all. So thank you so much. Yeah.
See, all of you, sounded so optimistic about particularly taking inclusivity forward, and that's very happy to note. At the same time, my next question is actually related to this, and to some extent reflects what Harin just now said. She spoke in terms of the generational diversity. Okay. Now, there are certain implicit biases in the mankind, where we talk about in organizational context in particular. And some of the great examples are, gender biases. All said and done, implicitly there is a gender bias. It still exists in organizations. Apart from generational bias and physical bias. I don't want to explain this, but then these do exist. Now, being optimistic that more and more it should become a practice than happen, once a while kind of stuff. All right, but then how do these biases, as I mentioned, hinder efforts of being more diverse and inclusive in organizations? That's my question. So I'll take Dr. Chawda, your opinion first on this. I hope the question is clear.
Yeah. So
implicit biases vis-a-vis actual implementation and practicing diversity and inclusivity.
Yeah, there are biases, lot of biases, because people of different generations are working together. And if I say a company like L&T, people are having they joined as a GT and retiring as vice president or something like that. So people having different generations, people are working together. So there are biases, definitely biases, and breaking the biases and breaking the barriers is the strategic decision. And when we have initiated this journey a few years back, first of all, we take a stock about what people are thinking about the different generations, because those people are thinking that why people are living every 2 years, 3 years, and those kind of thought process. And there are some gender biases that women cannot do certain jobs, and it is not meant for them. We find it difficult at certain areas. So after taking a stock, we created a group, not just training, awareness training, and it is important. But the later part is how to sensitize those first seniors. We have started from top to bottom. Now, bottom to bottom is easy, but bringing in the concepts into their minds, and many of them now practicing. They are now practitioners. They have been made as a champion on their respective departments, and they have been sensitized at why we are doing and why it is a necessity for the organization, why it is necessary for L&T to bring in or improve the gender ratio. Our focus was because other kind of diversity is already in place, but this gender ratio, it was a strategic decision to improve. And there are a lot of biases. Still, there are some of the biases still persist. I can't say that it is not there, but many things have improved by sensitization, by awareness, by training, by putting them, say, by designing the team in such a way that there are people in the team and they see the benefit. Once this ratio has improved, and the people are seeing the benefit of the gender diversity, and lot of at the same time, while breaking the barriers, few infrastructural facilities which are needed at the factories, which are needed at sites, which are needed at offices, was also well thought of and done. So over a journey of last 8 to 10 years, we could say in the journey of creating what we can say is a part of a practice, is a part of a culture. We are into that process, and we have done a lot, and not many things needs to be done in future.
Okay, I'll come to Dr. Reddy at the end, but let's hear her in first, about this on this question.
Yes, sir. Sir, if I talk about my story, like previously, when I joined in 2010, the organization was continuously looking for, like desperately looking for the male people. So if I talk about the, other character traits such as nationality, religion, gender, so we were completely looking for the male people. If I talk about the genderism, so we were like thinking about the gender, and we are thinking about the nationality as well. So if I talk about like, we should not, I think along with the communication part and awareness, we went forward throughout the organization. We started to look for the other peoples also. Like if I'm looking for the administration people, so if what we believe that he or she should be very presentable in terms of like looks, in terms of like personality wise, everything. We never felt, we never checked the capability, what exactly he or she is having. So nowadays we are getting aware about that kind of information. We are just continuously working on that. We are just continuously checking the skill sets. Basically, we are not working for specifically the different religions, different castes. So what I believe that there should be bias system, definitely still there should be a bias system, but we should promote only the diversity, what I believe in the organization, because I am also doing this only at the workplace.
Okay, Dr. Reddy.
Yeah.
Implicit biases.
Yeah, implicit biases, especially in terms of a generational biases, is something interesting. I would, being from a manufacturing company, and I'm sure it's also is happening across.
It would happen more in IT. See, they'll say, person with 40 years old coming and join, Buddha join kar liya.
So that is the other segment.
Yeah, absolutely.
For us, it is a reverse.
40 years old Buddha, see.
It happened, sir, actually.
So now what happens for us, it's a reverse. If I take an youngsters from IIMs or some prominent institute and put them as a manager, what this guy knows, I have an experience of 20 years.
Yes,
so the generational biases is very simple. If somebody has to become a manager, and I'm sure it happens across in your own institute, if somebody wants to become a dean, they have to undergo the process, systematic process, only then they are eligible for that, whatever it is. this happens usually, the person joined. The reason being, I'll tell you, it's not the seniors are underestimating the juniors, but rather it is lack of psychological safety for the seniors in the organizations. That's what I would call it as. When there is no psychological safety, acceptance of the next generation is very difficult. It's a very simple. If your son is doing wonderfully well, you stop yourself growing up and you encourage your son at home, but in the office, you stamp that person and you grow up. Because
Very rightly.
at home, it's a psychological safety is there, but not in the organization. That's a point.
I'll interrupt, Dr. Reddy. The larger issue is, or the question is, to what extent are these biases actually working against implementation of DEI?
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. If there is a psychological safety, people will not go against a DEI. They support. Now, the role of HR is that, can you create that psychological safety for the people in the organization? Now, believe me, I'm sure those who are from the industry would agree with me. Even to have a successor in the one department HOD, if I go and ask who is your successor, they don't give any successor because they want to show that without me, the department will not run. Now, because the people are creating, it's a possible, provided we give a psychological safety to the seniors, and it's a very easy to implement this DI in the organizations. Believe me, sir, this is my own experience. I applied for one organization as a head of L&D, and that fellow looked at my age and he said, with such a small age, how can he lead such a big organization as L&D? So his profile is rejected. I was shocked. Such a big organization is rejecting. And I said, check every credibility. I said, I don't want to work in such organizations if those people have got this kind of inhibitions. Now, that's what I'm speaking about. Create a psychological safety for the existing team members by creating whatever the way means that you can innovate. And I'm sure there's a lot of scope for the generational biases reduction.
Sorry to intervene, Dr. Anand Reddy. I'm sorry to
Yes.
intervene here. I just want to know, is there a household? I mean, is there an entire responsibility of HR manager only, or like it should be?
It's an organization, but HR should drive it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a top-down. I know I am a HR, so I know what is the pain when top management doesn't support it.
Right, right. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we are running short of time. Dr. Ishura, I think we need to close. But before closing, there are a couple of questions in the chat question box. We must take them up. But I have one question, very quick answer I want, particularly from Dr. Anand Reddy, who has been so, vocal about the interventions. And then, of course, Dr. Chawda, who mentioned about the benefits, and this is related to benefits. This is particularly in respect of businesses. Businesses are in the business of making money. So talking straight, what are the economic benefits, or what economic benefits do you see of diversity, DEI in short?
As I mentioned already, it's a 10% profit is experienced by all the organizations. That's a straight away economic benefit for the organizations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mentioned in my presentation that McKinsey report is there, then World Economic Forum report is there. They're giving a quantifiable data about the impact of DEI initiatives in various big corporates. If I talk about L&T, I can witness a lot of benefits of in terms of profitability. I cannot directly link, but improving the engagement score, GPTW score, and all improvement in the culture of the organization is a direct linkage to few of the DI initiatives.
Great.
And the retention of female employees and the rate of retention has also increased. Attrition level has gone down. These are the few indicators which directly attributes to the initiatives taken, conscious initiatives taken under DI.
This perhaps could be a new, research area from the academician's point of view. We would like to take these two questions straight away. And the first one says, how do we measure the effectiveness of our diversity and inclusion efforts? And how do we track the progress? Dr. Reddy, how do we measure the effectiveness of our diversity and inclusion efforts, and how do you track the progress?
I'll give you one example to answer this. See, we usually we have in our own organization that female cannot work in the manufacturing segments. It's very difficult because it's a pharma having various impacts. But we broke that, recruiting 60 fresh graduates, putting them into 2 shifts, starting from 6 o'clock to night 9 o'clock with all kind of transportation availability. And believe me, how did we measure? Last 7, I think this is the 8th month, we had only 2 people resigning. We have drastic reduction of attrition in terms of this. That's a one measurement that we have done.
Okay, great. Yeah, Harin, you want to say anything on this question?
See,
How do
sir,
you-
actually, this is a iterative process. This is an ongoing process. If we are giving a proper training session, and if we are ensuring the people that, okay, if they are having any kind of diversity issue like inclusiveness, so definitely they must come to the counseling panel, and then they can discuss with us, and we can resolve the issues. We can give us the proper solution for that, what I believe.
The next question is, I think, something which is bang on the target, down to earth question, very straightforward. Should we keep people who are less productive in the organization just to project the organization as inclusive or diverse? Dr. Chawda.
Sorry, sir, I couldn't get you, sir. Just
Is it that? The question is, should we keep people who are less productive in the organization just to project the organization as inclusive or diverse?
no, sir. It is not a kind of just showing it on a say wall. It is like basically a conscious and strategic choice, and it is not just like that, sir.
Great. I
Sir,
think,
sir,
Dr. Reddy, you wanted to say something.
yeah, just to clarify, performance is not a part of diversity.
Absolutely.
Right.
There is no diversity in
Very right.
performance.
Absolutely no.
Absolutely. So that's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of examples on gender. This thing, I've been to a factory in near Manila, Philippines, Indo Bharat Rayan. That's a joint venture, not joint venture, the overseas venture of Aditya Birla Group. I was in Aditya Birla heading HR, something. And believe me, it's a textile mill, and the spinning section where you have spindles and then yarns are woven into fabrics. Okay, long spinning machines. And on the shop floor, the entire workforce is female. And how they work, they all on the roller skates, fantastic floor. They all move on skates so that they're fast.
Yeah.
And any spindle gets stuck somewhere, they attend to it immediately. And the movement, you are not allowed to, you can only observe and watch from outside. So this is one. There's another one in India. That is the Fenner, if you have heard about, who make automotive wheels. Fenner plant for producing those wheels. There's a fabric inside, so there's a lot of stitching work, etc., which goes on. That entire area by design has been made to be run by only women. So these are a couple of things which I myself have observed, and then I must salute these organizations for adopting such practices. So thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure interacting with you.
So that's that's the other extreme. We have to re-engineer again. Then we have to accommodate some more males diversity. On a lighter note, please.
Okay. So very nice talking to you, all 4 of you, and it's been really pleasure hearing all 4 of you from diverse areas, from diverse backgrounds. It's been real learning for me. I want to end here, and then time is over. We already overshot by about 15 minutes. So I hand over back to Dipali.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all the guests. Now, I would like to request Dr. Mandeep Gill, Vice President Chairperson of ISTD Indore Chapter, to propose vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Dipali ma'am. On behalf of the ISTD Indore chapter, I extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all our esteemed guests who have joined us today for this enlightening panel discussion on diversity and inclusiveness on the occasion of the 54th Foundation Day of ISTD. First and foremost, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all our distinguished panelists, Dr. Rama Shyam, Dr. Anand Reddy, Dr. Pankaj Chavda, and Ms. Harleen Kaur for sharing their invaluable insights, experiences, and expertise on this crucial topic that is diversity and inclusiveness. Sir and ma'am, your diverse perspectives have enriched our understanding and have inspired us to strive for greater inclusivity in all aspects of our lives. I extend our gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, SVV, Dr. Upinder Dhar, NC Member, Rector and Dean, FTSR, SVV, Dr. Santosh Dhar, Regional Vice President, ISTD Western Region, Mr. Atul Shah, NC Member, Dr. T.T. Manwani, for their constant encouragement, guidance, and support. I am also grateful to Dr. T.K. Mandal, Professor SVSM, who was the moderator of our session, for skillfully guiding the conversation and ensuring that all the voices they were heard. A special thanks to all the ISTD committee members, as well as all the members of the Indore chapter for their support and active participation. Last but certainly not the least, I express our appreciation to the audience for their active participation and thought-provoking questions. Your engagement has contributed significantly to the success of this event. In the end, I would also like to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of our student volunteers, Aditya Chandel and Saloni Chaudhary, for their tireless efforts in coordinating every aspect of this event.
1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you once again. And it's been a wonderful, morning, which has greatly enriched our understanding of diversity and inclusiveness. Over to you,
Thank
Dipali
you,
ma'am.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I look forward to continuing
Thank you,
our
ma'am.
discussion
Thank you, sir.
and working
Thank you.
together
Thank you.
towards
Thank
our
you.
goal.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you all for sparing your valuable time for your busy schedule and sharing your experience with all of us. We will certainly benefited from your experiences. Wishing you all happy 55th ISTD Foundation Day once again.
Congratulations. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
With best
everyone.
wishes,
Thank
we
you.
are concluding this event now. Thank you and good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Thank you all.
अरे शादाब भाई बंद हो गया क्या?